Good evening, everyone. This is our help video for today, Monday, October 19th, for our math homework, which is pages 5 and 13. What we're going to do is just go over one problem from page 5, and then 13 we'll do a few on and really look closely at those. Page 5 has a lot of landmark numbers, which we talked about today. Again, we said landmark numbers are really easy numbers to work with. So these should be fairly easy for us to solve through, as we've spent a lot of time since the beginning of the year really practicing these. So let's look at our first problem, and we're going to kind of take a look at why these numbers are landmark numbers. If I have 55 plus 20, I could go through and actually do adding by place, which is a strategy that we've known to use really well. And if I did that, I would add my tens first. 50 plus 20 equals 70. Then we know next I would add my ones place here. 5 plus 0 equals 5. And altogether we made a 70 from our tens, a 5 from adding our ones. That equals 75. That's a great way to solve it. But since we do have landmark numbers, things are actually a little bit easier than it looks. So what we're going to do, let me erase my adding by place strategy here. And I want us to kind of think about the strategy and the discussion we've been talking about lately, how when you get to a new problem, it really helps to just look at what you're working with ahead of time before you actually start working. And here's why. When I look at 55 plus 20, I notice that there are already 0 ones over here. I can see that there's 0 ones. And if I know there's 0 ones, then I know 55 is just going to keep its same amount of 5s in my final answer. So we really don't even have to look at the ones. We can just tell right away it's got 5 in its ones place. Now looking at my tens place, this is where I really need to focus on. 55 plus the 2 tens, because that's all that really matters here. The 0, we're kind of just ignoring it. The 2 tens is just going to make 55 go up by 2 tens. So the 5 tens are just going to go up by 2 to make us have 7 tens. Okay. So keeping that in mind, if we go down to the next problem, 55 plus 40, I'm really keeping all of 55 in my head right away. I'm not going to worry about the 0. I know if there's a 0 here, I know my ones placed from the 55 is going to stay the same in my answer. But what I am going to look at is this 4 tens. And 4 tens are going to make the 5 tens over here go up 4 spots. So if I have 5 tens going up 4 more, would be 6, 7, 8, 9 tens, or the number 90, to give me 95. The last spot here, 55 plus 60, is a little bit trickier just because we go into the hundreds. But we've talked about using numbers that we understand really easily. And in this case, I'm going to pretend my 60 is kind of like a 50. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm really good with the problem 50 plus 5 tens here, which is 50. So 50 plus 50, I'm really good with that. I know that's 100. Plus 5 more ones in the 55 makes 105. But here's the thing. If I write 105 as my answer, that's not correct. Take a minute to look at the problem and see if you can figure out why that's not correct. Let's see how you're thinking for this. So again, if you notice, I lowered the 60 down to 50. I pretended it's a 50. But it's really not a 50. It's a 60, which is 60 is 10 more than 50. So because I kind of use a number that's 10 less, I have to give that 10 back at the very end. So that 0 tens is really going to be 110 for an answer of 115. So that's how you would solve that one. Moving on to our word problems, I'm going over to page 13. If you need to finish page 5 before you start the next part of this video, I would just pause the video and then come back. So moving on to page 13, it says Miss Ahmed went to the sticker station and bought strips of 10 stickers to give to her students. So she bought strips of 10, just long strips of 10 like that. And she bought 250 stickers. She bought a lot of stickers. But what they want you to know, what they want you to find out, is how many strips of 10 did she buy? One way we could do this is we know that, I'll show you one kind of longer way and then we'll talk about a quicker way. We know that all the stickers were in strips of 10 and she bought 250 stickers total. So wants to know how many strips of 10 is that? We could do 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110, 120, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 200, 210, 220, 230, 240, 250. And it said, how many strips of 10 did she buy? Well, she bought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. But that takes an awful long time. She bought 25 strips of 10. That takes a little bit longer than it has to. Something we do know, this is again really thinking about numbers that we know and how to work with our landmark numbers. 250 is the amount of stickers that Miss Ahmed bought. And 250 is a landmark number. It's kind of easy to work with. So what I would do is we know that 10 tens, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We know that 10 tens really is the same as 100. So what I'm picturing in my head is if I've got 250 stickers, that's going to be 10 tens, another 10 tens for a total of 200, and then 5 more 10s, so 210, 20, 30, 40, 50. So here's 10 strips of 10. Here's another 10 strips of 10, so that's 20 strips of 10 in all. And then 21, 22, 23, 24, 25 strips. Takes a little bit quicker time for that one. Alright. Moving on to, let's do another problem here. Let me bring up a different drawing pad because this one's kind of giving me some errors and not letting me erase it. I hope that this one will work better. It even lets me click it. Let's see here. No, we'll just use, I'm going to shift over. I'm just going to use this blank blue space here for problem number 2. Problem number 2 says, Gina and her brother are collecting pennies at home. They have 382 pennies so far. If they trade the pennies for dimes, in other words, pennies are worth 1, dimes are worth 10. So right now, if they have 382 pennies, it's like they have 382 ones or 382 dots or 382 pennies, however you want to think about it. If they're trading those for 10s, they're going to trade in all their dots. Every time they got 10 dots, they'll trade it in for, so let's pretend, let's do a quick drawing here. Let's see. So every time they got 10 dots, or 10 pennies, there's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Every time they've got 10 pennies, they'll trade it in for 1 dime, which is worth 10 cents, so I'll use a 10 for that. But they've got 382 pennies, they're going to trade it in for dimes. How many dimes will they have? How many pennies will be left over? So we know right now that if we have, let's see here, if we have 100 pennies, let's pretend we have 100 pennies. Think about how many dimes that would be. Let's count. We've got 100 pennies. We're going to count by tens like they're dimes right now. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 cents. So I had 10 dimes. So 100 cents is really just 10 dimes. We have how many pennies in all? We have 382 pennies, or 382 cents. So right now, with 100 cents, that gives us 10 dimes. Another 100 cents will give us another 10 dimes, for a total of 200 cents. Because every 10 dimes is 100 cents. And then we even need a third stack of 100 pennies, which is also another 10 dimes. And then we've also, so that gets done with our 300 pennies. We're done with those because we got 100, 100, 200, 300. We still have 80 pennies just kind of sitting around. We know that 80 pennies, since this is in the tens place,